The empty streets back in April gave us the warning. Close down the country like this and the economy will take an unprecedented hit. Today, the Chancellor told 5 News that is what's happened.
Hard times are coming, is what I said. And today's figures show that hard times are here. Hundreds of thousands of people have already lost their job, and sadly many more will. But what I would say to all those people is, although difficult times lie ahead, we will get through this and no one will be left without hope or opportunity.
What about extending the furlough? It comes to an end at the end of October. Why not extend the furlough, particularly in sectors where people simply can't do their business as normal because of the restrictions?
So this is the most difficult decision that I've had to make. It's right to say, look, it's not always going to be possible for people to go back to the job they had. We shouldn't pretend that that's the case. Actually, what we're better off doing in that circumstance is providing people with new opportunities.
Today's figures show GDP, the country's wealth, collapsed by over 20% from April through June. That means we're now officially in recession, with 6 months in a row of the economy shrinking. The last time that happened was back in 2008 at the start of the global financial crisis. But then the economy shrank by less than 3%. That's dwarfed by today's figures.
We now find ourselves in a double whammy. We've got one of the worst death rates across Europe, and now we're going to have one of the worst recessions. So serious questions have to be asked about the strategy the government is adopting here. The United Kingdom should not be in this position.
Another question for the Chancellor.
We have the worst figures of developed economies in terms of the amount of loss of GDP. Why is that?
If you look at our economy, social activities like eating out, going to the cinema, shopping, those activities comprise a much larger part of our economy than they do for most of our European comparator countries. And in a situation where you've essentially shut down all those industries for almost 3 months, that is going to have an outsized impact on our economy. And I think that's what you're seeing in the numbers today.
The government stresses it has schemes in place to help employers bring workers, especially younger ones, back full time. But others say the government should be spending much more now, as borrowing is cheap.
Cost of financing the debt as a proportion of revenue is the lowest it's been since history began. This is precisely the time in order to borrow, to invest and prop up the economy so that we can rebound from this.
There was some recovery in May and June with the easing of lockdown, but the government knows how fragile that is and how vulnerable to a pandemic that's already done so much damage. Andy Bell, 5 News.